Welcome to this week's What's for Dinner video. My name is Ashley. I'm going to be showing you 3 different meals I made this past week. I don't always follow recipes exactly, but if you're interested, I've linked some similar recipes down below. The first dinner I'm going to be showing you, I made some Cajun fettuccine alfredo with chicken. So I am just starting off with 1 large chicken breast that I butterflied in half. I seasoned both sides with some Cajun seasoning, some garlic and herb seasoning, and some salt, and I just put them on a pan to grill up. Once the chicken was done, I just removed it, and now I am working on the vegetables. I just cut up 1 large red bell pepper and then part of a yellow onion, and I'm just going to saute these together. I'm just going to add a little seasoning to this, so I'm just adding some Cajun seasoning, some onion powder, and some smoked paprika. So I am just going to let these cook down, get nice and soft, and then I'll start the sauce. So next I'm going to add in my heavy cream. I don't measure anything, so I don't know exactly, but I am cooking 1 full box of pasta. So I turned my pan up to about medium heat, and now I'm just going to season the sauce with some Cajun seasoning, some onion powder, and some paprika. So as the sauce starts to get nice and hot, it will start to reduce and bubble. Once I can tell the sauce is nice and hot and bubbling, I'm going to add a nice handful of some jack cheese. The cheese will help thicken it up, but also give it a nice taste. So I boiled and drained 1 whole box of fettuccine noodles. I am just adding the noodles back to the same pot, and then I'm pouring the sauce on top. I am going to give this a nice mix, make sure everything is well combined and all of the noodles are covered. So then I just popped a piece of garlic bread in the oven for my fiance. This is how everything looked when it was done. I just cut up the chicken and threw it on top. This was so good. I always love Alfredo. The next meal that I made was some Quesa Tacos and some Mexican rice. So I am starting out with my Mexican rice first. I just had a little bit of oil in the pan heating up. I threw in 1 cup of white rice, and now I'm just going to stir this all around, get it nice and toasted and golden. Next, I'm just adding in my seasonings. It is 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and half a teaspoon of cumin. Then I'm going to add half a can of an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, stir that all together, make sure that's all well combined and starting to cook down. Then I'm going to add 2 cups of water and then 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon and 1 teaspoon of tomato bouillon. I'm going to stir this all around or bring it up to a nice simmer and then put the lid on it and turn the heat down. So for my tortillas, I just dip them in a little bit of red enchilada sauce, and then I'm warming up each tortilla on the pan. This is just a little bit of oil on the pan to help it not stick, but also to fry it just a little bit. So I cooked 2 chicken breasts in my Instant Pot and shredded them up. For the tacos, I just took these tortillas, I put a little bit of cheese inside and the chicken, and then I folded them together. This is how I am cooking them. I'm just going to put them down in some oil to fry them closed. These are a little bit different than the tacos that I normally make, I think because the shell is nice and soft. They kind of stick to the bottom a little bit, so I always just wanted to make sure to move them around. Once they were nice and golden on the one side, then I just flipped them. Once they were done, I just picked them up with a spatula. They weren't easy to pick up with tongs, so I just picked them up, made sure to drain the excess oil, and then put them on a wire rack. These were so good. I just topped them with some queso fresco. You could even top them with lettuce, guacamole, sour cream. I love these so much. I definitely make them again. This next dinner I made is called Mongolian Chicken. I actually followed a Pinterest recipe idea, not all the way to T, but it is linked down below if you want to see it. So I am starting off with a couple chicken breasts. I am just going to cut them into strips and then cut them into small bite-sized pieces. And then for the seasoning, I'm just going to marinate them in a little bit of soy sauce. I think this is like the best coating, just adds a lot of flavor and a lot of nice salt. And then for the coating, I'm using some flour. I didn't have cornstarch like they did, but this worked out just fine. And then I'm just going to toss this around till everything is nice and coated. While I do this, I poured about 1/3 to 1/2 cup of oil in the pan. I'm just going to pan fry these till they're all nice and golden brown and cooked all the way through. So I did the half a batch first. Once they were nice and golden brown, I just dripped off the excess oil and then I put them on a wire rack to dry. And then I just worked on the second batch. I made sure not to put them all in the same pan. I've made that mistake, overcrowding when you're trying to pan fry and it doesn't really work out, nothing gets brown. So I just did them in 2 different batches. So now for the sauce, I just cut up 1 red chili and I'm just going to saute this around till it gets nice and soft. Next, I'm going to be adding in some minced garlic and a little bit of squeezed ginger. The ginger really does bring out a lot of flavor. I'm not a huge ginger person, but in these Asian dishes, they are definitely needed. So I just sauteed that around till everything was nice and cooked, and then I'm going to add in my sauce. This is a mixture of some hoisin sauce and some soy sauce with a little bit of water, and then I'm going to add a little bit of brown sugar. So I'm going to mix this all together. I have my pan set on about medium heat to start cooking the sauce, letting it thicken up and then reduce, and then you add the chicken back and toss it all together. So on the side, I obviously cooked about 1 cup of white rice, just some steamed rice, and then I seasoned some broccoli and threw that in the oven at about 350 degrees to roast. This was so good, y'all. I swear I will make this over and over again. This is Mongolian chicken. So once the sauce was nice and thick and coated each piece of chicken, it's ready to serve. This is how everything looked when it was done. It's so good. I can't wait to make it again. Thank you so much for watching this week's What's for Dinner video. Make sure you come back next week for another one.